Alright, it's XTR, we're here, and we are finally doing the long-awaited VOD review series. The reason why I didn't do this sooner is because I already recorded a VOD review, but unfortunately for me, it didn't record right, so I had to scrap the entire 1-hour project. So here we are again, and we're recording this VOD for DWI in my Discord, and if you want to actually get a VOD review going, go into my Discord, make sure you click the welcome mat, and click the emote, of course, and then go down to VOD review and put it in as the format that DWI put in, just like this. So these are the notes he said. Might have a little background noise. He does have a little background noise. It shouldn't be that much of a problem. I have background noise, so I don't really give a shit. Talk a lot in between rounds when he's dead. I'm probably going to cut out most of the in between round shit anyways. And he wants me to look for his obvious mistakes, his playmaking ability, obviously, and his executes. And he says his main problem is consistency. So we're going to take a look. It's a diamond game, which is a higher rank than I expected. So we're going to get started, and we're going to see how exactly he could fix his playstyle and what we can look for. I already have 4 people rotating towards A. They're giving up mid control. Given they have calls that there is a lot going on towards A, I wouldn't really bank on A that fast, but they are kind of pinching in between, so I guess it makes sense. Yeah, they have pinched them so hard right now, but if they decide to go back and they pick that Phoenix, that's free, and they can just run all the way back. At this point, when you notice that the Phoenix was already back behind them, and you notice that they haven't pushed in, you should try and understand that if they kill the Phoenix, they can go back. So I would have already rotated by then and headed back. But you go straight to B, which is smart. Play for sound, I'm assuming, is what you're doing right now. Okay, here you should just anchor sight, because they have the opportunity to go right back to B. So I'd play somewhere in this situation. I wouldn't have given up site control because it is a 3 versus 3. So yes, it is smart at the same time to play for the retake with your team, but you have a really good position on B. They probably wouldn't assume you were B, just given the circumstances and the fact that you were pretty much all rotated over towards A. That was a good pick from you, a good 2 versus 2 trade. You delayed plant, so that was a solid play. Now, honestly, it could have went either way there. You either could have stayed on site, or you could have fallen off, which is what you decided to do. Either way, both would have been solid plays. So you made a good play, you delayed the plant, that was smart. Peeking there, I wouldn't say I would have done it, but it did work out for you in the long run. And honestly, it was a risk that should have been taken, and you capitalized on it pretty well. So, all in all, a good round from you. What I would have done differently that round, obviously, is rotating earlier, getting a better position on the site, potentially, and you did fall off, so, honestly, not much to say about that round. You played it well. So here, since you're smoked off and you have kind of info there, I would have just thrown a wall down, just so you could fade that smoke out and then regain mid-control. But you know it's towards B, so this is smart rotating over, getting the quick wall down, shutting down any momentum they have. Your whole team is completely left A site, but they do have market control for the most part. The only thing they can really do is go through T-spawn. You're playing the smart, giving good comms to your team, letting them know what exactly is going on B site. And a good play from your breach. Not much to say about this round, obviously. Honestly, the only thing I have to say about this round is in a situation where you get smoked off there, I would have personally put the wall down and then tried to regain mid control just so they didn't have control of ramps, because you didn't have anybody playing in ramps, at least, unless I'm incorrect about that. I might be. Your breach might have been in ropes there, but I would have walled it off just to regain that mid control so you can kind of push them back towards their spawn. But honestly, it didn't really matter, so it doesn't really make that much of a difference. Still keeping the Spectre here, which is debatable, but if you like it, go for it. I don't give a shit. I'm assuming this is a random stack, but y'all are doing a pretty good job of getting map control here. Almost every time that there is pressure in one area, I've noticed that you guys like to aggress in another area of the map and get control of that area, which is smart. That works out pretty well a lot of the times. But if they do, but a lot of the times I've noticed you guys are banking on the fact that they don't kill the person that's kind of pinching from behind. And a lot of these rounds where the pincher will get killed, you lose a lot of map control in that scenario because all of you are banking on that pincher not dying and that he is going to close in and get kills. But it looks like Raze is probably about to die here. Yeah. So now they have access to Spike, I'm assuming, and they have free reign of the map. They can go wherever the fuck they want. And you guys are both sitting on it, so you're going to try and make a play here with the flashbang. The second you notice that, you should have just played and waited. Obviously, there's not much you can do in that round. It's a 4 versus 2, and it's hard to react to something like that. So, honestly, I don't have much to say about that either. But if you notice that tremor going down, it's best to let your teammate honestly just die and not even try. And because you have a Vandal, it's a winnable round 4 versus 1, believe it or not. I always like to say that you can win these types of rounds, but obviously it was just a quick decision. You know, it just didn't pay off. But just be careful when you're swinging into stuff like that, and know that it's not always worth suiciding for your team. The B player's dead. You just need one there. The wall is good just to buy you some time for the race to get over there. You need to be assisting your breach there in that team fight. So when this breach gets 2 kills, you should instantly be running over to assist him, because it's most likely assumed, yes, he just got 2 kills. So you probably, what I'm assuming you thought is that there was nobody else mid because he got 2 kills there, and he doesn't really see anyone else there. So you were probably ready for the B hit, which is what I'm assuming is your thinking right now. But honestly, in a scenario where he gets 2 kills like that, you should go and assist him either way, because you already have 2 players on B. So right here, you're not really doing much by being in this heaven position, because you already have so much pressure towards B site. So you should be assisting your teammate just so your breach doesn't get killed, and then it makes it a 3 versus 3. So right here, he dies, and then you've already lost. You've lost mid control at this point. And I wouldn't say it's best to try and regain it here, because all 3 of you are pretty much in the same general area, so you can kind of retake together. Now this swing, I get it, you're trying to regain a little bit of control, so it's a calculated risk that you took, but it just didn't pay off. You lose the gunfight, and now it's a 2 versus 3. So honestly, I would have played with your team or held a passive angle in heaven, given I'm assuming you wanted to regain that mid control, so you could kind of shut down on the opportunity that they would have to take a site. So I understand what you were trying to do there, but honestly, playing a passive angle would have been fine, and then retaking with your entire team would have worked out very well. Your Brimstone's going to clean it up. Very good from him. So very aggressive play from you guys. Doesn't really pay off. Here I would be walling that one of these sides so your team can get more aggression here. Like maybe wall off sewers so you can swing to the right side with absolutely no problem. That was a good capitalization. You got the good pick off there. Now you need to fall back and play a passive angle. And you notice they're B, so you should instantly be going towards B here and helping your teammate out. I'm not sure if you noticed that your teammate was fighting on B here, but your teammate was in the middle of fighting people here. And yes, well, actually that's not even the spike, that's just a ping. But what I would have done is instantly walled this off and went to assist my teammate on B site, because he's instantly engaging here. You still have the wall out, you're just kind of waiting, and now you have to wait for your teammate. You can try and get the cross pick, but you're going to opt for getting the aggressive play and falling onto site. Now this is fine here, but it's very risky, because if you die, then your teammate's in a 1 versus 2, obviously. I'm assuming you've already kind of judged those risks, but... And that's a really good play from you. Kind of nutty, yeah. You made a calculated risk. That shit worked out, definitely. That was actually a really good play. The other option was obviously just to wait for a 2 versus 2, but either one would have worked, and what you decided to do was a good idea. So in this situation, you need to be a little bit quicker on your feet, because you know he's pushing in towards there. So you need to get ready just in case he decides to go a little deeper. I don't know if this was calm that he was flanking, but if your teammate gets to this area right here, you need to be swinging out with him, so the enemy has to worry about 2 people. But he takes down 1 in market and sewers, which is a really good play from him. You shouldn't have rezzed that. Not my personal, I don't know how I feel about that res personally. Yeah. It was a 3v1, so that was kind of a waste of that res there. Fell into peer pressure, man. Unbelievable. So in this situation, where does that go? Wow. God tier slow. Okay. I see you. Let me rewatch this. Teammate dies upper. You get a little bit greedy here. Your teammate's not peeking with you, and you decide to take the one-on-one. So just a case of greed. Happens to the best of us. And you lose the gunfight. No need to really peek here, but I understand why you did it. I get greedy as fuck sometimes too. I'm just trying to look at different routes you can take, because you're playing it pretty well so far. But there are obviously a lot of alternatives you can take here. What I'm noticing right now is you're very hesitant in the way you play. So I'll say more on that a little bit later, but I'm not sure where you plopped that wall down because I was busy talking out my ass. Okay, yeah, that's a decent wall, so you can help your teammate. You need to be going a little bit quicker here for your team, because your teammate's trying to somewhat aggress middle here, I believe, as he flashed. Fucking tripwires, okay, genius. So yeah, you need to be fighting that with your team. Given it's a 4v4, so I'm assuming you wanted to kind of play passive here and not take the fights, but your teammate had another idea. So it's best to fight that with your teammate and try and help him actually secure kills in that situation, because I believe they are ecoed. So if you are both fighting in this particular situation, it would have worked out much better in my opinion. And yeah, you get taken down here. So honestly, if your teammate is fighting, you need to stick there with them, because a lot of the times in that round it was kind of back and forth. Like he was telling you to push, you weren't doing it, and then he peeks out and you aren't even there to assist and help him out. So in that round, you should have been helping him out and been team playing and coordinating a little bit more with him. See, you're too scared to peek certain angles, like you just said right there. You need to be taking a few more risks. You're a very defensive player, I've noticed. And yes, in a lot of cases that is good, but a lot of the times you're too defensive, and to the point where you don't take enough risks to actually help your team benefit from risks that they are taking. You need to be capitalizing with your team as they are taking risks as well. So that's one of the bigger things. So yes, it's smart not to be taking stupid risks, but calculated risks that can actually help your team benefit from the certain risks are very good. And you need to not be afraid to peek this, because if you are constantly playing passive, they know they can bully you in certain areas like middle. If you never peek middle, they're going to know that you don't peek middle, and they're going to start bullying you and taking advantage of that and taking more pressure towards mid. And eventually, if this team was smarter on the other attacking side, they would actually start just bullying you mid and completely taking it from you. So here you need to, once you notice your whole team is dead, yes, you were going for the Cypher kill. Like you got this Cypher kill, you were going for the breach, and at this point, once you notice he's in that smoke, don't swing any wider. Don't swing any wider. Your whole team is dead. It's a 2 versus 4. You need to stay alive. You need to wall this area off and fall to your team so you can help them out. But you opt for the other option, and oh, you might actually get out of here. Okay. That shouldn't have happened. But, hey, it worked out. So here you need to play with your teammate, obviously. You two need to play together. And obviously taking... Well, that was unlucky. Taking the aggressive route and jumping down onto site with your brim would have been the proper move, which it looked like you were about to do, but you got taken down. So as I was noting earlier, you don't get aggressive enough middle. Now, exactly, you're getting aggressive middle, and this is what I wanted to see. Just a little bit more aggression towards middle, so they know that, you know, you're not going to give it up every single fucking round, and just give it to them. So yeah, you're kind of cleaning up for your teammates' mistake of pushing through. I think I played with Hawks before, by the way. Pretty sure I have. I've played with Vodka, Hawks, and Speedy. All three of those guys, at least once. Just 2 picks towards A. You're getting a little bit more aggressive. Dipping your feet in the water. Okay, okay. This is fine. This is completely fine. But I wouldn't go much further past this. You're playing a one and done, which is okay. In a situation like this, I guess that's fine. Okay, now you and your teammate have a really good crossfire setup, so this was smart. I was just worried that they were going to push back through and eventually just pick you off. But that didn't happen. Your teammate needs to be playing this with you. It looks like they're going to be taking towards a site. This is a decent flank going through ropes. Or going through sewers. So this is perfectly played. And now you're there to actually get the kill. Perfect. Perfectly played. Perfectly played. The only thing I was worried about is the potential... Yeah, you almost died there. That could have sucked. But the only thing I noticed bad there really was... just in case, you know, you didn't have info for like 10 or 15 seconds. So it could have been really dangerous what you were doing there and actually aggressing through middle. Because I thought you were going to push him through sewers, which honestly might not have been good because your teammate was already getting aggressive so much and pushing in behind them. So I wouldn't have personally done it. But you opted to just take the one and done angle. And if your teammate Raze stayed middle and kind of backed you up, that would have been perfectly played if they actually came back through mid. But they didn't, and then you flanked through sewers. You got the kill. You almost whiffed it, but you didn't. Not that that's a gameplay error. You just kind of fucked up for a second. Man's got slow lineups. This is what I fucking love to see. Slow lineups. Absolute god. I haven't taken any time to learn slow lineups myself because I'm a lazy ass player. But nice slow, nice slow. I like the W key strategy. What you could have done differently here, this isn't really me telling you did anything wrong, because you didn't really. You held W in with your team, which is all you can really ask for. Is you could have just held ramp for your team, just so they couldn't get pushed from behind. Because just in case the enemy tries to aggress behind, and they end up killing at least 2 of you guys, then that would suck. But honestly, this works too. Pushing through obviously is going to work just as well. But here, when you get flashed, you just kind of hold W in. You have 2 options here. Hold W or move off to the left into cover. And you just hold W. So, honestly, not much you can do there. I'm not going to nitpick something like that. I'm just giving you a couple things you could have thought about doing in a situation like that. So your team's just getting picked everywhere. I don't really know what they're doing. I think a full out hit would have been perfectly fine here, but your team didn't want to do that, so now it's just a 2 versus 5, and you're not going to get anything done here. There's no way you guys win this. Yeah. Not that I don't have faith in you guys, but that shit wasn't happening. Honestly, on 2v4, you were just getting a little bit too aggressive. You didn't really need to be peeking anything here, and you got punished for it. Assuming your team's gonna win the round. Maybe not. Yeah, they will. They have time. Yeah. He's nuts. Okay. Speedy's fucking insane, apparently. Yeah, so right here, both your teammates weren't peeking, which is kind of on them for that. Because, you guys were fighting down this corridor, and then they decide to just kind of leave you out in the open. Oh, fuck. Dude, did I just go to the beginning? Holy shit, where was I? So yeah, your teammates honestly really did cuck you. They fucked you over here. They should have been peeking that with you. Yeah. No. Your team looked like they were trying to aggress corridor here. That's on them. That's not your fault. So the only thing really that you could have changed here is you could notice that, you know, this guy's using utility, this guy's reloading, so they aren't going to peek that. And you could have waited, but it looked like you were just posting up on the angle, and your team just wasn't there to support you. So nothing really that you did wrong there. You were kind of holding that angle, making sure that they didn't regain control of corridor while your team was reloading and such. You expected your team to be there, which I understand. I would have done the same exact thing, and then when I died, I would have been, why the fuck aren't they peeking? Which is exactly what happened. So that's... It could really go either way. That's really not your fault, though, in my personal opinion. Obviously, anything I say is... It's up to debate. If anyone has anything different to say for certain rounds, just leave that in the comments and debate it with me. I don't really give a shit. If you guys think that something differently should have been done where I'm saying something else should have been done, go ahead and leave your opinion. And we can debate it in the comments. Not argue it, debate it. Like, actually, like... figure out what could have went differently and how it could have been changed. No, constructively. Get you. I don't really know what's happening here. I need to ask, well, why exactly were you hanging back here? Was there a reason that you were just kind of standing here? Maybe you were waiting for that ult, I guess. Yeah, you're playing way too passive here. In this situation, when you get tagged up, yeah, I know you got tagged up, so you probably got spooked a little bit. But, personally, if you get tagged up, you should cross to this side and hold this angle for your team so they can't get pushed from ramp. Or maybe pull out your heal and heal there, instead of falling back behind the smoke and giving up this control that you've already gained, thus making it so if you heal, you have to push back through the smoke, which is exactly what you had to do. So you fell through the smoke, one of your teammates died from ramp, and then you had to regain control through the smoke. So you're going to res in this very open corridor, given it is smoked off. But you need to be taking control with your team here. You're playing way too passive in this situation. You don't need to be watching flank. Your team is already aggressing. Your teammate is through heaven right now. Yeah, your teammate is in heaven right now. He's dealing with CT. So you and the breach both need to be taking site control here. I know that you're worried about the flank, which is, it's understandable. But in this situation, when you have a teammate this far aggressed, you need to be pushing out onto site and gaining site control, so your teammate actually has a purpose for being up here. Because now it's up to him in a 1 versus 2, and he has to worry about that flanker and the person in potentially CT. You need to be very careful about the spam here. That's an unnecessarily aggressive play, but it worked out. I get you guys are smoked out in this situation, but it's best not to push through the smoke in a situation like this, because you can very easily just sit behind the smoke and wait, because the bomb is still kind of planted for you. So if he tries to defuse it through that smoke, you can just spam him. You look very confused. It looks like you're very confused right here, like you don't know what to do. Because you look at ropes for a second, you decide like, hey, I'm going to watch this flank, and then you just leave and then go CT with your knife out. I don't know. I've noticed this trend a lot. A lot of the times, it just seems like you don't know what to do in a lot of the rounds. And you hesitate so much, and then you end up either getting punished or you end up making a very bad play. So right here, you should be setting up. You should try and wall off either ropes or heaven, which you do. Just do it. Just do it. Yeah. Well, that was unfortunate, but it worked out. Arguably, I would have walled off ropes and then tried to take heaven control and then res. Because it's a lot easier to go through heaven when you have man advantage. But it worked out, so it looks like you guys are going to end up winning this round. Maybe. Good job.
Hopefully that's a game to review.
Yeah, no, that definitely was a solid VOD review game. Let's see if you have anything to say about it. Before I'm...
Definitely some mistakes I made. Definitely some decent plays. That's just gonna give me like, yeah.
Holy shit, league player? What the fuck? Disgusting. Disgusting. So I'm going to hop into Vegas and record what I have to say. So honestly, there are a lot of things I noticed while watching this VOD. And one of the biggest things is obviously you are a very hesitant player. And quickly, let me go over what you wanted me to cover. So you asked for obvious mistakes you're making. And the thing is, you aren't making a lot of mistakes. It's since you are so hesitant, you are constantly scared to actually do things and actually make plays. And you ask, since you're a lot of the times you are middle and bottom fragging, is fragging something you should be looking for? And I have to say, your utility usage, yes, is good. Your aim it's pretty solid. Like, it's there. So you need to actually be not scared to take plays, and you need to be way more confident in your play style. I've noticed your play style is very defensive, and a lot of the times you just hesitate on actually capitalizing on things with your team. There are a lot of rounds I've noticed where your team will be fighting and you're just kind of twiddling your thumbs. You don't really know what to do, when you should be aware of what's exactly is happening with your team, and you should be there with your team, ready to assist them and ready to actually fight with them. A lot of the times when you actually are ready to fight with your team, you do it in a very suicidal fashion where you don't really actually effectively fight. There were a lot of rounds where you just swung into flashes just to be there for your team, when in reality, if you just waited a second, it would have been fine. And there are a lot of rounds where you just didn't fight with your team at all because you were a little bit too scared of what could have happened if you actually fought with your team. What could have happened if you had taken that risk and actually ended up taking the fight. So there's a lot of times where it's just the fear of making the wrong decision is getting into your head, and you need to kind of iron that out. And on attacking side, I did notice that you were playing very passive, especially on executes, and you would fall back through chokes a lot of times, which isn't very good to do. Once you are already through that choke and your team is fighting, especially on site, and if your team has already pushed through and aggressed in certain areas, you need to be slowly working control with them. The one round in particular, I noticed this, is when you fell back to watch the flank. It was a 3 versus 3. Your teammate was in heaven, so at that point, either you need to go up heaven with your team and bring the breach with you, or you need to push onto site and actually capitalize on the advantage that was given to you in that round. There's just a lot of uncapitalized advantages that I've seen. There are a lot of things you didn't capitalize on in general, and a lot of times when you should have been way more aggressive than you actually were. And one thing I have noticed with you is I feel like you're taking the whole aggression thing a little bit wrong. Like, I feel like you're trying to slowly work aggression into your playstyle, because a lot of the rounds you would peek and you would try and get aggressive, but you would just do it very wrong, like I said earlier, in a suicidal fashion, and you would just peek into things and die. There needs to be some semblance of like, hey, this is a good peek, this is a good aggressive peek, versus, hey, this aggressive peek will get me killed and I don't need to take it. So you need to kind of realize which is what, and you need to slowly work that out yourself, and you need to actually kind of draw the barrier versus what is a good play, what is a bad play, what is suicidal, what is smart. So anyways, that's all I really have to say. I hope this cleared the air for you. I know I was kind of going back and forth a lot, so I hope I didn't confuse you there towards the end. But anyways, if you guys have any comments, go ahead and leave those in the comments below, and I will make sure to respond to most of them if I can. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching this far. We're almost about to break 30 minutes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like, because like I said in the last video, I'm a fucking slut for likes. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Goodbye.